Well, thank you. I mean, it's really been a very rich experience for me. Some of you may have heard me with my my metaphor. Tom Hyber was walking in, I don't know, it was a couple days ago actually, we were walking, and he said, oh, you know, I've got this talk. And I said, it's a bit like giving a dinner party. When I have a dinner party, I'm very stressed, you know, is everything organized? Am I gonna forget to put something out on the table? Will people have a good time? Will people come? You know, all of those things. And so one of the ways I judge whether it was a success or not is whether I was actually able enough to enjoy it. And I have enjoyed this symposium as much as we have been worried about putting our best foot forward, making sure that it is stimulating enough and engaging enough. And I think we really have that. We've had a lot of diversity in the perspectives that have come together. We've had theory, we've had case studies, we've had area studies. We have, with the symposium to honor Daniel Chapin Hazen, one of the things that I have enjoyed is the threading through all the presentations, the references to Dan's work, which not only pays homage to Dan, whom we knew and we loved, and that grin that he had, and the intellect that he had, but it shows to me how he lives today and how he will live in the future, as there is some enduring value in the thoughts that he has had and that he has recorded, which indeed is also something that we are doing in libraries and archives, which is capturing and preserving, even though I noted that in one of the remarks, Dan was saying that we lived in a post-custodial world, but you know that we are still doing that. I looked at what we've been talking about in terms of data as an individual, as an intimate life. If you think of the presentation this afternoon with Jane Kaminsky, and then big data, the assessment patterns that we've been looking at. And again, something that struck me that someone was quoting Dan, talking about the importance of human intellect. And so you think about algorithms, and we were talking about now about search engines, or about bias that comes in, and the design of things, and the importance of human intellect blending or balancing, really, the technology that exists. That it isn't that we will all be replaced by robots. It is that we have a valuable contribution to make. Although I hadn't, I don't think I thought about it so consciously, but you know, we are here a group of, one of the things I've been enjoying is in the breaks and at lunch, sort of looking at the different networks that exist here, and I kind of long to map them out. So there are the librarians, there are where we've worked together before, there are the archivists, there are the academics, the scholars, and in some respects, Dan himself mirrored that as someone who was both a scholar and a librarian. So I think that's been good that we've had the variety of perspectives on that. Thinking about Tom's talk in particular this morning, this talents, attention or balance that we need to have between selectivity, if you think of archival appraisal, and this yearning that we have for being comprehensive, and what is it that we do. And I think that fits with you, Jane talking, and you or Bethany talking, and others, and Tom, I think too, about loss, about what is eluded, what is erased, what is obliterated in some way, and how we cope with that as we think about our libraries and our archives and our future. And then I'm thinking of the panel of university librarians and talking about the need to transform ourselves, that we are at this moment of, it seems to me looking over 4 decades in the profession, a really important moment in our history where there's transformation, and we talk about, Susan used the word, do we need to be, I think in terms of, now I can't even remember whose talk she was commenting on, but recreating ourselves and really thinking about how we manage what we're doing. And Chris talking about the public good, that we always need to keep in the center as I have a very strong tendency to always be talking about how this is going to be efficient, and we'll have these collective collections, and it will save us money, but we'll still be able to give access to information, and I think that's a wonderful thing. But what we can't lose sight of, in my enthusiasm for talking about it, it's wonderful to be sort of pulled up and say, but why are we doing this? And it is because of this public good that we are going and trying to make accessible. And I like the idea of the nonlinear future, the nonlinear design, that there are multiple interpretations and imaginings of our lives and all the lives that will follow us. I'm also thinking about, you see, I do listen to Chris, when she said, Sarah, it isn't all just about having an action plan. This is like my little Myers-Briggs, that I always want to come up with the action plan. Now, what are we going to do? But sometimes you have to open up. And that's really, in a way, what Bethany's talk was doing for us, too, was helping us widen that aperture to think more broadly about things. But we've had a good opportunity over the last day and a half to come together and to talk. And there are going to be several more opportunities to talk. We have, I know I have coming up Monday, Ivy Plus library directors. Friday, there's going to be a couple hundred people meeting at Princeton who are part of RECAP, and they're going to be talking about aspects of this. And then there's HathiTrust is coming up in November, where people are talking about the shared print repository as well as the digital repository. And John McCall, he has RLUK coming up very soon in early November. And so I'm sure that you will bring back across the Atlantic some of what you've heard here. So we have these opportunities for discussion, for talk, and for these ideas to percolate and reshape and reform into my beloved action plan, which I expect will emerge over the next several months to a couple of years. I see enormous progress in the way we are coming together, and I think that it is good to get out there and to experiment and to exchange ideas. And I hope that as you make a safe journey home, that you'll be thinking about these ideas, and that there will be bits of things that come to you and rearrange themselves into your imagined future. I want to thank all of the speakers from Laura, I'm looking now at Larkin and Mackenzie sitting over there, and Bethany here, and there are many others spread throughout the auditorium. The respondents, you did a fabulous job. Everybody was really at the top of their game here. It was terrific. And I want to thank my Harvard team for all the work they did in putting this together, from the tours and the events and everything. That's been just a wonderful gift to me. And I want to thank the participants. I'd like to thank all of you for enlivening this with the discussion that we've had. Again, it's like the party you're afraid like people aren't going to come. I'm afraid like people won't ask questions. And in fact, we had a very liberal distribution of questions with a variety of viewpoints and everyone helpful and constructive. So it's, I'm very gratified, and I just want to thank you all for coming and for participating. Thank you.